Well, boys and girls, it's becoming pretty clear that we are a very good team, although we just can't battle with these random mystery secret points that Real Madrid seem to accumulate. Hello and welcome to Club 6 Part 32 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we are at home against Juventus in the Champions League and at home against Espanyol in La Liga. 5 home games in a row. Goodness me. What a time to be alive. What a time to be living in Sevilla and going. I mean, it's an expensive couple of weeks. I hope they've all got season tickets because that is going to cost a few quid. Since you were last with me, we are on the longest unbeaten run in the club's history. There's just a couple of slip-ups. You can see there's a bit of a pattern to it. It's usually around a Champions League game we'll slip up. So just before Hamburg, we drew 0-0 at home to Numancia. Just before Galatasaray, 0-0 away against Valencia. Before Juventus, 0-0 away against Betis. Then beat Real Madrid 5-0 away from home, but came back and drew 1-1 with Granada. It's frustrating. I am rotating the team a little bit in these games that we're drawing, but not hugely. If we have a look at the Real Betis game as an example, I mean, that's not a hugely rotated side, but for whatever reason, I think the whole squad have got much more of a focus on the Champions League than they have on the league. The 5-0 against Juventus, case in point, we're playing Juventus at home now, so hopefully we can beat them even more. This is what the Champions League group currently looks like. If we draw, we're through, basically. But La Liga, despite the fact we're still unbeaten, we can't, like I said in the intro, can't compete with the secret special points that Real Madrid accumulate. So we are unbeaten, but we're 5 points off the top of the league after 10 games. 6 wins, 4 draws, all those frustrating draws either side of Champions League games. Real Madrid, on the other hand, have lost a game, but they've won their other 9. We've got Atletico Madrid, Getafe, Barcelona, Real Betis, all on our tail. So we do need to start accumulating some wins, turning some of these draws into wins, and hopefully we'll be able to do that in the Espanyol game. I'd like to think we've broken our run by beating Athletic Bilbao just before a Champions League game. If we can now beat Espanyol after a Champions League game as well, then we can all assume that we can now compete on 2 fronts again. That's the plan. But let's go play Juventus first of all, and this is the team that we're going to put out there to do exactly that. We've got Zielinski in goal, a back four of Rybak, Silva, Annan and Gravosti. O'Neill and Atz in midfield with Ruiz, Lorenzo and Gould in behind. Korkmaz, who is now fit, is now back again. Still hasn't scored in 3 league games, but was dominant against Juventus in the away version of this tie. 2 goals and just an incredible performance. He was absolutely excellent. So as he gets closer and closer to full fitness again, in fact, it looks like he is now back at full fitness. Hopefully we're going to see some more wonderful performances from him. Talking of wonderful performances, this guy is just in crazy form in the Champions League. 5 goals from 3 starts in the Champions League so far this season for Ruiz. He's never been a regular starter in La Liga for us. He's 24 years old now. He's never going to be better than a 2.5, 3-star player, but he's one of the Champions League's top scorers this season, and for that reason he'll continue to play Champions League games, and Garcia can be our La Liga winger. Rotation. Let's get into the game and hopefully have another stunning performance like we had against Juventus in the away game. I think it was a bit of a shock to everybody. The reason I chose the home game rather than the away game to show you is I wanted to show you us beating Juventus, and I thought we had a better chance of beating Juventus if I showed you the home game. I thought we might go and grind out or draw away from home and then win by a couple of goals in the first leg and everyone will be happy. Right, let's passionately say a point here gets us into the knockout stage with 2 games to spare, which again would be very handy in allowing us to focus in on La Liga, because if we do qualify with 2 games to spare, Lorenzo hits the frame of the goal with less than 2 minutes on the clock. But if we do qualify today, we can then play those rotated teams in the last 2 Champions League games and focus on the league, and hopefully by the time the Champions League comes back again in February, we'll be top of the league, or at least a little bit closer to Real Madrid than a 5-point gap. Lorenzo with the corner now. It eventually falls to Annan. Why am I making everybody's names upset? I know I've not done a lot of videos lately, but that doesn't mean everyone gets a name change. The anonymous defender scores his first goal of the season, our first goal of the game, puts us 1-0 up on 24 minutes, and that little league table does look delicious as it stands. And of course, if we can beat Juventus home and away, and then rotate the team against Hamburg, it is opening the door to let Hamburg come through with us, which will obviously be the dream scenario. Have both of my clubs come through and Juventus have to make do with Thursday night football. It's a lovely finish from Gould as well, his 4th of the season. We're 2-0 up. Both goals coming from corners. We've clearly decided we're going to be a threat from set pieces today, which is absolutely fine in my book. Ruiz got himself a yellow card. Isn't playing the way he has been playing in the Champions League so far this season, which is a bit of a shame. But hopefully he will turn it on a little bit in the second half. We'll give him 20 minutes or so before we bring Garcia on that left-hand side. I just noticed the goal differences as well. Let's just make this a little bit wider. Has there ever been a situation before where 4 games into a Champions League group, Juventus have been on a -5 goal difference? That is a stunning statistic, and it's all our fault. We've scored 7 goals against them to no reply now across a game and a half. Annan all the way across to Silva. Silva trying to build from the back, plays it out to Ryback, into O'Neill. Ruiz now finds Ryback on the overlap again. It falls to Lorenzo, who's drifted out to the left-hand side, back with Ryback and Lorenzo. I don't know where Ruiz has gone. He's drifted around somewhere as part of this move. Is that him there? No, that's Lorenzo. Where is Ruiz? That must be him. Atz plays it into Ruiz finally, to Lorenzo. This is stunning. This is just absolutely outstanding football that deserved a goal. Korkmaz heads just wide. How many touches did we have there without letting Juventus touch the ball? That was an absolute joy to behold. And I am looking at the bench, wondering what kind of changes to make. I mean, no one's playing outstandingly well. So I did mention taking off Ruiz, but he's not the worst performing player we've got out there. Korkmaz has just absolutely robbed him of a goal. That was just dirty from Korkmaz, because that was I want to overrule that and make that 6 goals from 4 games for Ruiz, because that is absolutely going in. Or was it? Was it going wide? I guess Korkmaz had to do what he had to do, but we will now make some changes. Ruiz, all of a sudden, with that one header, becomes a much better player again, apparently. Lorenzo can come off, though. Who have we got to bring on for him? Why don't we have an attacking midfielder on the bench? I guess we could just go 2 up top. We could bring on Abraham. Well, in fact, let's play Abraham there, see what happens. What's the worst that can happen playing Abraham in midfield? Bring Moreno on as well for O'Neill, and that will do for now. I do kind of want to have a look at Perez again, but with Korkmaz seemingly having Juventus's number, it seems a bit wrong to bring Perez on in the circumstances. We're effectively 8-0 up on aggregate now against Real Madrid against Juventus in this season's Champions League. I've forgotten how to make videos, clearly. I don't know how to say the names of my players. I don't know what teams I'm playing. It's all falling apart. Right, Atz is the final change. We don't have anyone to bring on for Atz, so he's not the final change at all. Let's do this based on fitness. Ryback is shattered. So Bruce, the new left back, whose name I can't pronounce, can come on. Gould with a free kick. He gets another bite at the cherry. It ends up falling for Ruiz, who we really want Ruiz to get a goal. I want him to be the top scorer in the Champions League this year, because it will just be ridiculous. Atz fires wide, just from the edge of the area. And I guess the Champions League is done on head-to-head performance rather than goal difference, because looking at that, in my book, Hamburg should be above Juventus at this point. But apparently that's not how it works. Presumably, Juventus have already beaten Hamburg, possibly even twice at this point. And that might be where their 2 victories have come from. Although that seems unlikely. I know we've got to play Hamburg and Galatasaray again, so Juventus must have beaten both of them so far. Right, pleased with the result and performance. I am, and we've qualified. Marvellous stuff. Now, hopefully, we'll go and beat Espanyol and not have another one of these hangover matches. And then we can really focus in on the league for the next, 3 months of football. Right, I'm trying a different tactic. Not a different tactic, but I know what I mean. Rather than rotating for this game to try and... normally players like Annan, O'Neill, Gould, anyone whose conditioning is dropping down towards 90% would come out of the team for this game. and just freshen things up a little bit. But rather than doing that, I've decided to go full strength to try and pick up a win. And this is where we end up losing because players are tired or someone gets injured and I end up looking like an idiot. But now we've qualified for the knockout rounds. Our full focus now until February is getting back to the top of La Liga because we want to retain our title. So let's calmly say we should be winning this game. I have got a little bit more in the way of an attacking option on the bench this time. I've added Amador to the bench. So at least we do have an attacking midfield option now who can come on in for any of the attacking midfield three. Benko, the new signing we brought in the summer, if you're wondering where he is, he's fit. He's just... We've got too many players. Where does he slot into this? To any of this, really? He's got to force his way through into the team. Theoretically, star rating wise, he's the best attacking midfielder at the club, but Lorenzo doesn't let us down. Amador is much more flexible about which positions he can play in. So, as it stands at the moment, I don't really see that there's a spot for Benko. Long term, I imagine he'll take Amador's squad spot. But at the moment, I like Amador's flexibility. O'Neill's just put us 1-0 up. 37 minutes on the clock. From a corner again. We've become set-piece specialists. Lorenzo floats the corner over. O'Neill is there and scores. O'Neill, I would like to think we're about to see the resurgence of O'Neill because on the recommendation of my assistant manager, whoever it is who makes these recommendations in the inbox, it was recommended I take his squad status down from key player to rotation player. And I thought, you know what? He probably is a rotation player now. Let's do that. He didn't get grumpy about it. But I do wonder if that might be the kick up the backside that he needs to realise that he's not one of the first names on the team sheet anymore. We've got the new guy, Ramos, is that his name, in central midfield, who's not fully fit at the moment, which is why he's not in the team. But normally O'Neill wouldn't be part of my starting 11 if everyone was fit. That's poor from Zielinski to let Espanyol grab an equaliser just before half-time. Can we have some passion for 3 minutes before half-time, just to try and go ahead again? Atz plays it out to Gould. We need to be monitoring the fitness of the likes of Gould. We don't want to be picking up injuries in this game. I expect to see Amador come on for him probably at some point fairly early in the second half. If fitness means that he has to look at that from O'Neill, making a proper tackle again. O'Neill's on the way back, boys and girls, and Zielinski finally makes a save. Look at these stats. Are we really at risk of going in a goal down at half-time because Espanyol have hit us on the break a couple of times? Zielinski collects from the corner, and we need to have some words at half-time because we're doing it again, and this is not okay. We need to be winning these games off the back of Champions League games because Real Madrid do, and if they're going to, and we want to win the league, we have to as well. We've been the better team. No, don't keep doing what you're doing. Score some goals. Keep going, you can still win this one. I've assertively said that, so hopefully that'll put a little bit of fire into him going into the second half. We need to score some goals, for goodness sake. Right, how are we doing fitness wise? I mean, fitness and performance wise, actually. I could change most of that team looking at the state of that. Ryback is struggling a little bit. We've got Bruce on the bench. Korkmaz isn't playing well. We've got Perez and Abraham on the bench as options for him. So I think they're the two most obvious changes because Ryback is just struggling and probably shouldn't have started. Korkmaz just hasn't done the job in the league since he's been back yet. So that's a bit of a worry. Let's get creative. And I want to be keeping an eye on both Gould and Lorenzo, actually. I think we're going to take off Lorenzo just again based on fitness. And we can bring Amador on for him. And we're not even going to have a highlight in the second half, are we? He says, just as we get a highlight. Right, we better score a goal here. Perez, down the right-hand side. Cross comes over. Ruiz can't quite get there, but there's O'Neill. Hits the frame of the goal. O'Neill could have been the real hero of the day. But as it is, it's just going to be another disappointing draw off the back of a Champions League win. And I know the goal for the series at this point is to win the Champions League. But we don't want to be one of these teams that can't compete on two fronts. Amador, with the opportunity from range, but really scuffed his shot and didn't really threaten the keeper at all. We are putting them under some pressure here in the last minute or two of this game. I don't want to switch to attacking because I don't want to risk conceding at the other end. But I do want to tell them, look, come on, we really do need to win this match. Look at the league table. O'Neill sprays it out to Ruiz. This is going to be one of our final chances. It's with O'Neill again. O'Neill plays it out to Gravosti. We've got men queuing up in the middle. We need a cross. Gravosti crosses to Ruiz, who nods it down to Perez, who can't apply the finish. Can we demand more? We've got a corner. We still can't do another shout yet. Silva can't quite get there. It falls to Amador. We've got about 20 seconds left in the game. Gould plays it across to Atz. Atz from range, and that was the last opportunity really to win the match. And we've in fact the full-time whistle has gone early, I think there, but we can't keep drawing games. Yes, we're in the longest unbeaten run in the club's history, but we've drawn nearly as many games as we won in the league this year, and it's very frustrating to see that we're just letting Real Madrid pull away from us. We're probably going to let Atletico come past us now as well. We're going to end up third by the time they've played their games. We need a proper focus back in on the league for a significant run now. So tomorrow's episode, because we are back to normal schedule now, finally, after what feels like forever, we'll do 6 league games and then come back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will be, in fact, it's going to be after Christmas. It's going to be Real Sociedad, Celta Vigo. So we'll hopefully have some transfer business going on as well. Not that I think we've got any money, so maybe not transfer business. But we'll have had the mid-season break, which really isn't very long at all. That game in the middle of the break just seems stupid. 1 game in a month, but it's halfway through, so they can't have a proper holiday. But we will wrap it up there for today. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.